that, and you know, maybe the only way to do it that he would be the one to sign for it, to receive payment, conclude the deal and stuff. That's what this is about. This power of attorney. That's all.
So Tito Ben wanted. Say that part again.
No, we give him power of attorney so he can sign
By
when-
himself.
Yeah,
By himself.
only his signature is required to conclude the sale. If a buyer ever comes up, if they ever find a
So who owned the property across the river from the restaurant?
Tito Vic owned that section over here, but that one I don't know. I don't know who that one that they. I think Tito Vic's maybe they're also quarrying over there, because Tito Vic himself was quarrying.
He was.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that guy.
okay.
Nothing
Right on
gonna
the
get
river,
past
huh?
him if there is money to be made.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that, that beach that he ruined.
Yeah, the mangrove swamp.
Yeah. That one also.
He did that.
Yeah, that's just about money. Yeah, well, basically he gave the Chinese, free reign in exchange for getting paid every 6 months. A couple of million pesos or something.
But was that? I thought that he resisted.
You know, I did not
Dealing
get
with them because of Anne's protests. About
I did not get that.
maybe she was resisting and he wanted to sell. Maybe that's kind of
No,
the.
she was resisting. Yeah, she's like sayang and all the environment. That's a beautiful property. What a waste.
Just one of those one of a kind.
Oh
Spots,
yeah, no, for sure. It had its fish were coming in. It had a tidal pool. Fish would come in to
And those
spawn.
trees that are in mangroves,
mangroves.
like with the wide roots that are flat
Yeah,
and
yeah. It had spring water coming out of the side of the hill that people were drinking in that area. That residents there. The caretaker of Tito Vic's land, that property. His wife, I don't know how old he was. His wife was, when I met her, she was 32 years old.
the caretaker of the
that
property,
property.
the mangroves.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She had 6 children. That means that she started at maybe 16 and had,
Taking care of it long enough to have
had
6
kids.
kids, huh?
well, you know what their life is. They just live in a bahay kubo. But they have this idyllic life, diba? They
Yeah.
just go up, get a coconut,
Everything you need. The fish come in,
fish,
jump right into the frying
water
pan.
coming out
Yeah.
of the mountain.
Yeah. Why do anything else when you
and
already have all that?
no concept of birth control. But yeah, so that property, they flattened it.
So Tito Vic actually did sell that
it
to the
out.
to a
So
Chinese mining
one time
company.
he took me with him to Labo. And he said, the next day, he said, we're going to Pulang Daga, we're going to meet with the Chinese people, discuss. And then at that time, I said to him, do you really need the money? I don't recall he responded. But I thought we were going there just to negotiate and, meet with them, maybe show them around and negotiate. When we got there, it was done.
They were already
Did
working on it.
buildings, yeah. They already made a road over the mangroves.
Oh my God!
Built a little bridge.
Were you just absolutely
I was
shocked?
so heartbroken, man. But it was done. It's not like there's any discussion involved. It was just making conversation.
Yeah.
with
Kind of
Chinese people.
pressing the flesh, right?
Like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. You're just greasing
they've
some
already
palms.
dug a deep well and they already ruined the spring water.
Wow. Wow.
The people here depend on that. Now they have to pay to get that water from your
Crazy.
deep well. Then you have to use electricity to pump it up.
Crazy.
Eventually, and that's kind of really tragic. Huh? Eventually, they will start to getting delayed in their payments. You know, and
Yeah,
then Tito
yeah.
Vic
And
had
what can
to
you
like put on the
kind of
hard
like
line.
strong arm them a little bit?
Kind of hard line them.
Uh-huh.
And okay, so now when we went, that day we went, the Chinese were there. Of course, they didn't speak any English or didn't pretended not to, but they
Nice.
aren't.
Nice.
There was an interpreter, Chinoy, Filipino Chinese from Binondo, who was act as interpreter. So we're basically interacting with him. That guy was murdered also.
Holy shit. Around the same time?
Around the same time as Tito Vic. That's why
Holy shit.
when they're coming up with suspects, I was like, my first suspect would be the Chinese.
I remember that was part of the
They owed him money.
speculating.
He was already making threats, about bringing them to court or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my first.
It made sense.
Yeah.
That's the
Although the actual killer. It also made sense.
yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. But yeah, they're putting two and two together.
So that deal between the mining company and Tito Vic, that's just gone.
Yeah.
That was there's nothing on paper.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean,
Tito Nora
it's
was
just gone.
involved, but especially after he was killed and Anne-Marie could step in. Right? And it turns out the title of that property was also in Tito Nora's name and Anne-Marie's name, so they had to split it up.
So Anne still owns a piece of where they're mining
She
now?
owns half, or maybe they're still fighting for the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not mining. They're
done.
Yeah,
they already tapped it out.
They ruined the mountain.
Yeah.
They flattened it. They had this grinding thing. I saw it. That's why I went there. I thought it would be just talk.
It was probably a
I got there. Whoa, where is it?
crazy. It was probably a scraper.
The scraper like that. Then there's this blowing thing. And then the whatever
like a
separates the
sluice?
light from the heavy stuff, I guess, and then they pick up the ore.
So it was just a conveyor belt where all the
that's
material,
how I could say,
and then it was
that's how I
like being dropped into like a sorter, like a sorting.
It's falling
facility.
to the ground. Then they would extract it from there, I suppose. But I saw that big thing.
Yeah, conveyor belt.
Yeah. Scraping and then blowing it up.
You mean blowing it like?
Blowing it into the air.
It was just like coming out of a hose or something like that, right? Or
I don't know. It was several hundred yards.
because I'm just kind of like wondering if it was like erosion mining, if that was the style, which is they can't do that anymore here in the U.S. But
using water.
yeah,
No.
yeah, that's how you did. That's how you kind of disintegrate the mountain, and then you sort it out through a sluice.
Yeah. Remember that.
Yeah, the Clint Eastwood movie. Yeah, where they were using a
There's the first time
they were
I saw
using
it,
a
wow.
funnel. Yeah, and then using a fire hose and just hosing down the mountain. Yes, that's the scene.
They are rider.
Yeah, where. And then some guy was being an asshole to him, and then Clint Eastwood punches the guy and sits him on his butt. That's the kind of mining I was envisioning. But they're not. They're done. They're done mining. They mined it out.
No, I'm not sure if they're done because there are many other companies there. It's gold. It's gold country. Paracale. It's called Paracale because Kali, tunnel, tunnel or ditch, ditch. Para kali, that means there are a lot of ditches and tunnels. Because even during, or maybe even before the Spanish time, but during
People were already digging around there.
I'm just going there. Anybody, you get a nugget and you hit the lotto.
So
Little
it's
kids were
known for that.
dying,
Oh my god.
even up to now. Because they make a hole, and then they send the kid down. If the hole is so small, then say if it's raining or it suddenly rains, then the hole will cave in.
Jesus.
And they don't even
Jesus.
bother to retrieve him anymore. But yeah.
So that's the reputation of that area. That's the history. That's part of the
Up
history.
to now, yeah. Gold. Cursed.
That's kind of, from what I remember in my geology class, that's kind of where, because the water will carry it down, and then wherever
Yeah.
the sediment collects, right, which is in that
Yeah.
case a mangrove, that's where the gold will be. Over thousands of
but,
years.
in this case, what they were doing is they just take that, which I suppose is the ore, whatever falls, put it in a barge, and then they take it to China. And they refine it there.
Yep.
They don't do any refining.
It's just, all of these, you see these shows of like mines in Alaska and Canada and stuff, out in the wilderness, and they're just, they completely strip down, like you said, entire mountains. And then the final product is like a vial of gold dust. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's in there, and they figured out a way that where it's worth it, where you're just you're able to take so much raw material so quickly and do the extraction that even if it's like a small amount by comparison, it's still profitable. But yeah, that's so it's called Pulang Dagat,
Dagat,
which is Red Sea.
Red, no, the red soil.
Red soil.
Daga is a Bicol word, not the Tagalog word. The Tagalog, it's rat. Diba? It's a rat.
Yeah, Dagat. I'm thinking
In
of
Bicol, it's soil.
what's C is
Dagat.
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 Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Dagat.
about. Pulang Dagat.
Beautiful.
Yeah, red rat.
Yeah, that's the soil is red, so the beach is pink.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that really must have been something.
It's all from the shoreline to
Yeah,
several hundred yards was
Pink.
just tidal pools. Wetlands. You could walk on the stones and you could see the little fish and
Clear water.
yeah.
So that it would
Very
the red of the soil would kind of mix with the white sand and kind of make it pink.
We don't know if it's white. I can't say that. It's probably not gray.
But the mixture, the resulting mixture would make it look pink.
That's my guess.
God, that must have been so cool.
That beach is quite memorable to me because when I was little with my cousins, we would go in the summer to Labo, and then one day my cousins took us, because that land belonged to my uncle, and then Vic managed to buy it from him. What he did there, my uncle, was he made it a fish pond, which is like perfect for a fish pond, and they can just get the little fish from the spawning area and then
Dump them in there.
yeah. They
And grow them up.
in their
Yeah, so it was like
ponds.
aquaculture.
Yeah. So we were there, and of course we were just little, so we were playing in the sand and the beach.
Oh man.
Part of that beach is a very sudden incline, so that the waves are just small, they're like that. And then there were a lot of these coconut trunks closing. Maybe there was a storm. So they're wading in the pool or whatever, running back and forth, maybe having fun. And one of these coconut trunks just came on
Oh
the wave
shit!
and landed right on my foot, right on my right
Ah,
foot here,
fuck!
on
Right,
this toe. And
just
I can
on right
still
on
see-
your toe,
on
huh?
this toe. And the nail.
It just came off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, injured and then it grew
Oh
back,
shit!
but kind of
Crooked.
deformed.
Yeah.
Now I'm still dealing with it.
I had that for. God, I can't even remember what I did. I think it was like I went to Ozfest and like this is before I knew about wearing boots, so I'm there in sneakers. And someone with boots, I probably stepped
You
on
got
my
what?
big toe, and yeah, it jacked up the
Nail turned
toe and the
back.
nail, and then eventually it fell off, and there was a time of like no nail, just this weird like wrinkly skin, and for the first nail that grew back, it had like a wave. It wasn't like just like a flat like kind of uniform surface. There was like a little ripple, but eventually that grew out, and then now it's like more regular. But a freaking
Normal.
yeah, it's regular now. So you were just there barefoot in the sand, carefree,
We're playing
Yeah.
in the water.
and a freaking coconut tree trunk hit you right in the foot, huh?
Amazing, huh? Yeah, and just right there on
Yeah,
that toe.
Nailed it.
I mean, now that you put it that way, could have been a lot worse
Yeah.
when I think about it. But
Yeah. Pretty big trunk. I mean, for like a little, especially for a
Yeah.
little kid.
yeah, and I'll never forget it. I mean, I can't remember even the circumstances. I know my cousins were around me, but that's all. That's all the memory. I have.
How old were you about, you think?
Oh, I was in grade school. 7 maybe.
Wow. So when was the before you were there, like with Tito Vic, to like talk to the miners, the Chinese mining company, when was the last time you saw it? Was it when you were 7 or?
Oh no, we've been there before with Tito Vic because he owned it for a long time. There was one time which was very wonderful. We'd go there, and then his tenant is the guy who lives there.
The
Got
caretaker
some
would,
coconuts, got some coconuts, and it opened them up for us. And we were
that's the
drinking.
best. That's the best.
What a life!
So the caretaker was a guy
don't
and
know
this
what happened.
and this girl that eventually got 6
Well,
kids.
he and his wife, and their 6 children.
And
Well,
and it was just
no.
them that lived there.
Well, they manage the whole property basically. They're the caretaker and the manager. They harvested the coconut.
God, man, that is so cool.
Maybe they went fishing. I even got some of the little girls there started and picking up plastic trash. Going up and down the beach picking up the plastic.
So yeah, the last time what do you think? How many years do you think from like when you saw it, like, and it was in its original place, and then when you went to talk to the
No, not many
The
years.
Chinese.
Not many years. 2-3 years maybe.
wow. Yeah,
That was
I
a problem, man.
crazy,
What he got into,
crazy.
because then
What?
when he started, putting pressure on them to pay up, they got a security guard, and they wouldn't let him.
They wouldn't let him
Yeah,
in
anymore.
on his own property. He got once the once the disagreements started, then they got a security guard, and he was no longer welcome on his own property. Wow. I mean, yeah, that is just, I mean, the life you're describing of living there, when before it got mined out was, it makes me think of, like when I visited Boracay, I think. And I just remember talking to like one of the locals. I think he was like, maybe he like owned the boat that we were touring around in. And we were out there, like, I mean, this had to be like maybe 300 or 500 yards off the beach, into the ocean, toward like away from the island. And there were these guys out there, no boat, and you'd see them dive down and then come up, and then dive down and come up, and I think maybe they didn't even have a snorkel. I think I could just see the mask, and I was like, hey, what are those guys doing? And it's like, they're fishing. They were out there. They swim out there
with their little.
No, they just they had something. They were spear fishing or something, and I understood, like, because
tirador, it's like a slingshot.
Yeah,
but the bullet is a dart.
we went when I went snorkeling, and they'll throw, like, I don't even think they needed to do this, but they'd throw bread into the water to get the fish to like congregate. It was just insane. I mean, if I took a knife and I couldn't miss hitting a fish, it was just, there were so many fish.
Also. Yeah.
It was, and he told me, like, yeah, that's just, he kind of described his life, and what I remember is like, it's like in the morning you just go out with a net, you go like this, and you got fish. You go into the shore, you have your little barbecue, and then you get on with your day, whatever, giving tours to tourists on your boat, and that was just his life, and I just kind of think of like, well, what more do you really need? You live on a beach that people go on vacation at, and then all your food and everything is just right there. So easy, it's kind of effortless. But that's when one of the first times I really thought about it, like, if for people that just grow up right there, swimming to them is like what walking is, because it just, I'm not a great swimmer, I can do enough to not drown, but the thought of swimming 500 yards into like the open waters, and to go out there and just be fine, and just with a mask so I can see the fish that I'm spear fishing, before I swim back, was just like impossible. But there was a guy there, whoop, whoop,
Yeah, a little kid.
whoop, whoop.
From the time they learned to walk.
Kind of going by on the boat, and they're just like, look, they kind of look, and then just second nature. So I mean, it just makes me think of that, because just what I imagine it would have been like to live on that property, but you got to really have that kind of.
It's idyllic for us, but if you're one of those people, of course it's not.
Yeah, you're gonna be like,
and you're gonna want some of the things that
modernity. Yeah, the grass is always greener.
It's how humans are.
Even look, you could see it it's, for whatever reason, it's just built in. Maybe it's some part of our hunter-gatherer survival, just our ancestors, just that drive to always want more is what
we were designed.
Anyone that didn't want more, they didn't get to reproduce, and those people that had that in them to like, I always want more. I want what I don't have. I got to get that thing. They were able to propagate. But you can see, it's that drive and that inclination is so obvious, like, in Baxter, and, to also Min to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, you want what you can't have. You're not really like, and people, all people are like that, Even me, even now.
It's
You
a
know,
human
I got
thing.
that in. Yeah, exactly.
But recognizing it is a good first step.
I'd like to point it out to him, and hopefully, you know, hopefully he'll be able to observe it himself.
Yeah.
So this,
Also, you're able to reserve some becoming. You're able to resist becoming too judgmental. You know. And yeah.
so the whole consulate thing is to give Tita Ben power of attorney.
Yeah.
That's the,
Yeah.
and you already went through it, and then now
I
it's
did it
Tita
in
Lynn.
March.
Yeah, I
They
remember.
contacted me and I was still in Thailand. And the first thing, as soon as I got back, it's so simple because I'm right here.
They don't have a consulate in Washington, huh?
No, this is the consulate. This consulate covers Arizona, Washington.
Oh, it's the regional.
yeah,
It's the regional consulate.
it's
Okay.
like Western United States. And
That's
they
cool.
do have an outreach. So once, several times, or maybe once a year, they'll go to those places and have a remote, services needed, sort of,
Where
several days.
where is Tita? Where are they staying?
When they come,
Not near the airport. I hope.
no,
Did you
no,
give them
near
some
Union
good?
Square.
Yeah.
They're gonna stay right there. I think just 1 block away from the consulate.
How's that
Turns
area?
out they're flying into SFO.
Okay, that's a little better.
It
A
changed.
little.
Although I don't understand why, but when I look at their itinerary, it's like 6 hours flight. They're going to go to Las Vegas and spend 4 hours in Las Vegas,
Interesting.
and then going home, they're gonna go to San Diego, and then to Bellingham.
Like to visit people, or just like
No, they're the way Southwest flies. Southwest flies into Oakland.
and then they do their little route like a bus, right? They got their, they do a route like this plane always goes.
No,
And
they
stuff.
Just, they didn't
I
do
don't
the
know.
non-stop ones. That's why they got the ones with stop
Interesting.
cheaper.
Southwest flies
Interesting.
from Bellingham straight to Oakland. It was only an hour. The same flight we took, right? I think that's 3 times a day. So if you ask me, it would be just more practical to fly into Oakland and then take an Uber to Union Square. But in her emails, she's talking about flying into SFO. No. First she thought it was Oakland, and I'm like, okay, just give me the flight details. My plan is to go meet them. And then get them an Uber and give them the ride. But in the itinerary, it turns out they land in SFO and they plan to take a BART. Which is fine, actually, because it's so easy from the airport. It's right there.
Yeah, the air BART.
Yeah,
Right?
the airport. Then you transfer at Coliseum. It only goes up to Coliseum. That's like the
That's where I work right there, man.
It's
not great.
I know. It's like a robot train.
It's a
you
bold
know.
move, Cotton.
But,
See if it works out.
Yeah, and then from Coliseum you can transfer to another BART. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I really want them to do that.
It's
It
not
sounds
great.
Very dangerous. Just from what
Let
I
me
hear,
tell you
it
right
sounds
now,
Very dangerous.
Well, not only
That
that.
Coliseum BART station is in a terrible area.
Yeah, but you never really go down. You just get off the airport BART and then you
matter.
go into the BART station.
just
You're
put-
already
just-
in the BART station.
Just in case they,
No,
it's not part of their
what I'm saying
consideration.
is, how will Tito Larry manage once they get to Powell Station, and then they have to walk maybe 2 or 3 blocks, kind of uphill, Powell, up Powell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or really,
It's worth
I
yeah.
mean, he can walk for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
It
it's
takes
just
him a
it's
long
gonna
time.
take time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
And
said.
plus, then they have the bag. So I'm like, I think I'll just go meet them and
Mm-hmm.
get them on Uber.
I think that's better. They've been here recently. Didn't she visit recent? Didn't they visit recently?
It was last year around
Not
this
this year.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year.
It's just sometimes
Tita
it's
Patty, remember? Tita
Yeah.
Patty, she was here.
sometimes it's just I think it's just difficult for people to know what it's really like around here. You know, because like it's kind of the reverse for me because I'm around this environment for so long that I just presume that the whole world is like this. But then when I go to other cities, I'm like, oh yeah, not every place is like this. You know, so the opposite would be true. If I lived in a nice area, part of me would just presume like, hey, every place is like this. And then you get to the Bay Area and it's like, no place is like this. This is a one of a kind, thank God, one of a kind locale. So, you know, anyway,
Sure.
my point is, I think your idea is a good idea. Just expedite
Just,
their travel as much as you can.
Last night that I found out. So I'm thinking that. Then I accompany them to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll take the BART. Yeah, you know, there used to be a radio station and a disc jockey who would go, Charlie Brown. His name was Charlie Brown. This is Charlie Brown with background music. Ding, 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 ding. This is Charlie Brown reminding you that the circus is a place of fakes and freaks. So run away with the circus today.
Yeah. Oh, this whole area is a circus now.
What time is their flight getting?
What time is their flight getting in? You
Getting
know?
in?
Yeah.
About 3 p.m.
On Tuesday?
Yes. And then they leave at 2 p.m. on
Cool.
Thursday.
Any other items of business to be continued?
Yes.